I escaped my controlling mother at 28 and disappeared without a trace. Growing up, I didn't really have a normal childhood. My mom, Lisa, was the kind of parent who made helicopter moms look lazy. She had this uncanny way of making everything in my life feel supervised, monitored, controlled. She chose what I wore, what friends I could see rarely, what I ate, even what shows I could watch, and God help me if I questioned it. She'd always say, "I'm doing this because I love you. One day, you'll thank me." But love doesn't feel like walking on eggshells. It doesn't feel like checking in every hour by text or getting guilt-tripped if you want to spend a weekend away. By the time I was 18, I was technically an adult, but nothing had changed. She still demanded to know my schedule, had access to my bank account, just in case, and insisted on going with me to doctor appointments. Every attempt at independence was met with a wave of emotional manipulation. "Why are you pushing me away? After all I've done for you, this is how you treat me. You'll regret this when I'm gone." And somehow, I always caved, because guilt was her strongest weapon and I was trained to obey. At 21, I got into a college across the country. I thought this was my chance to finally break free, but my mom insisted on driving me there. She stayed in town for 3 weeks to help me settle. She called every morning and night, and if I didn't pick up, she'd call campus security. No, I'm not kidding. Eventually, I dropped out and moved back home more defeated than I'd ever been. She said she was glad I came to my senses, but I didn't. I just gave up. At 25, I tried again. I moved into an apartment with a friend. For 2 weeks, it was peaceful, quiet, free, until my mom showed up. She banged on the door, screaming my name. She claimed I was in danger, said I was under the influence. She even called the landlord and pretended to be my emergency contact, saying I had a mental health episode and needed supervision. I don't know how, but she got the lease revoked. My roommate was terrified, so I moved back in with her. She won again. Then came the breaking point. I was 28. I had a decent remote job, working as a graphic designer. One night, I was finishing up a late client project. I had headphones on. When I took them off, I noticed my bedroom door was slightly open. She had come in quietly and stood behind me for God knows how long. "You've been messaging someone," she said. I froze. She'd gone through my phone. Again. It wasn't the first time, but this time, she'd found texts with someone I'd been dating. A woman I met online, someone I hadn't even told her about because I knew what would happen. And she went ballistic. "You're sneaking around behind my back? After everything I've done for you? She's using you. You'll see. You'll come crawling back." That night, I didn't sleep. Something inside me finally cracked. I realized that if I didn't leave soon, really leave, I'd be 40 and still asking for permission to breathe. So I made a plan. Quiet, careful, calculated. After that final confrontation, I acted like everything was normal. I told her I was sorry, that she was right, that the girl I was seeing meant nothing. I even let her go through my phone again after I'd wiped everything. I had to win back her trust just long enough, but inside, I was already gone. I started with my job. I asked my manager if I could work from a new location, temporarily a friend's place. He didn't care. As long as I met deadlines, I could work from anywhere. That was key. Then I opened a new bank account at a different bank, one she didn't know. I rerouted my paychecks. Slowly, quietly. I got a P.O. box across town. Began moving things in small batches, clothes, my laptop, documents during errands. I told her I was going to the store, or to a park. She didn't question it. I changed my phone number, kept the old one on, muted, so she'd still be texting and calling what she thought was mine. And I bought a burner phone, paid in cash. I got help. That woman I'd been seeing, Natalie, wasn't just a date. She became my lifeline. She connected me to a friend of hers who had experience with domestic abuse survivors. And yes, even though it wasn't physical, what my mom had done was abuse, emotional abuse, coercive control. They helped me come up with a plan. Book a cheap Airbnb in another state, use ride shares and public transit to get to the airport, pay for the plane ticket in cash. Never look back. The day I left was a Tuesday. She was out running errands, so I had a window. I left a note on the kitchen counter. It just said, "I'm okay. Please don't look for me." And that was it. No tearful goodbye. No drama. No chance for her to twist things. I slipped out the back door with a duffel bag, took a lift to the train station, and rode 2 hours to the airport. I didn't stop shaking until the plane took off. I landed in Colorado. Why Colorado? No reason. I just picked a place she'd never expect. Natalie and I agreed not to talk for a while in case my mom tried to track her down. At the Airbnb, I lay on the mattress on the floor and cried harder than I ever had in my life. Not because I was sad, because, for the first time in 28 years, I was free. But the story doesn't end there. She tried to find me. I know because she posted on Facebook. My son is missing. If anyone has seen him, please contact me. She called my old job, tried to file a missing persons report. The police didn't act because I was an adult. She even hired a private investigator. I stayed off social media, changed my name on everything, used VPNs, encrypted apps, the whole deal. And still, for weeks, I had nightmares. I thought I saw her car, heard her voice, felt her eyes on me. That's how deep her control ran. But slowly, I healed. I found a cheap studio, got a local therapist, started going by a nickname. No one knew me as Lisa's son. I was just Alex, and for the first time in my life, I liked who I was becoming. About 4 months after I settled in Colorado, things started to feel normal. I wasn't looking over my shoulder every second. I had a simple routine: work, walk, coffee shop, sleep. It was the kind of peace I'd never known growing up, not even close. I even let myself think I was safe. But trauma has a funny way of reminding you it's still there, and so does a Facebook friend request from someone you don't recognize. That's how it started. A request from a woman named Elena Barker. No mutual friends, just a photo of a sunflower as a profile pic. I ignored it. Then came a message. Hey, Alex, or should I say Ethan? My stomach dropped. Only a handful of people knew my birth name. Natalie didn't. My boss didn't. My mom absolutely did. And then I noticed the language, the phrasing, the manipulation disguised as concern. This wasn't a stranger. This was her. I blocked the account. Next day, another one popped up. Eleanor Bailey. New message. Same tone. It's not too late to come home. You know this isn't who you really are. That night I didn't sleep. I sat in my kitchen chair with a kitchen knife on the table, not because I thought she'd show up, but because part of me felt 6 years old again. Small. Trapped. The fear wasn't logical, but it was real. I had to act. I went to a lawyer, explained the situation, told him I wasn't looking for legal action yet, but I needed to know my rights. He said something that stuck with me. She's not a monster, but she's an adult who spent her life refusing to respect boundaries. That doesn't change because she's your mother. I filed for a legal name change the next week, started using two-factor authentication on everything, locked my credit reports, paid for a virtual address, but she didn't give up. She sent emails to my old university claiming I was mentally unstable. She messaged Natalie, asking if I'd gotten her pregnant and abandoned her. She even created a Reddit account and commented on posts I'd made years ago, before I disappeared. Always the same message, rewritten 1,000 ways. Your mother loves you. She just wants you to come home. But it wasn't love. It was control dressed in sentiment. I didn't answer. Not once. Then one night, a cold, clear Friday in December, someone buzzed my apartment building. No one ever did that. I didn't have visitors. I didn't answer. A few seconds later, my phone rang, not the burner, my real one. Unknown number. I froze. Then I heard a voice through the intercom, and my blood turned to ice. Ethan? Please, I'm not mad. Just come down. Let's talk. It was her. She'd found me. I didn't move. I didn't breathe. I just watched through the peephole, and there she was, wearing a scarf I hadn't seen since high school, clutching something in her hands. She looked smaller than I remembered. Older. Tired. But I didn't open the door. I watched her stand there for 20 minutes. She eventually slid a letter under the door and left. The letter was 10 pages long, handwritten, sloppy, desperate. She said she had cancer, that she was dying, that I needed to come home and take care of her. She talked about how lonely she was, how people had poisoned me against her, how I owed her everything. No proof of diagnosis, no doctor's note, just a guilt trip dressed up in grief. And here's the part I hate admitting, I almost believed it. Even after all she'd done, the lies, the control, the fear, some part of me wanted to believe she was just scared and sick and trying to fix things. But I didn't call. Instead, I called a lawyer. He helped me file a no-contact order. I reported her for harassment, showed them the letter, the fake accounts, the messages. The police warned her, and that was enough. She backed off. 6 months passed. I was starting to feel something close to stable. I didn't check the locks 3 times before bed anymore. I went hiking. I started talking to Natalie again cautiously. We grabbed coffee once, just as friends. She said I looked lighter. I felt lighter. And then I got the letter. But not just any letter. It was certified mail, a legal-looking envelope. Official sealed from a probate lawyer in my home state. Dear Mr. Ethan Michael Walker. This is to inform you that your mother, Carol Walker, has passed away. As the sole beneficiary of her estate, you are named in her will. I stared at it. My hands started to shake. Dead? I didn't believe it. Not for a second. I Googled the name of the lawyer. Legit. I Googled her obituary. Nothing. Called the number on the letter. Voicemail. I waited a day, then two. Finally, I got a call back. The voice was calm, professional, real. Yes, Mr. Walker, your mother passed 3 weeks ago. Complications from lung disease. I understand this must be a difficult time. It was surreal. I didn't cry. I didn't feel much of anything except suspicion. Then he added, she left you her house, her savings account, and several personal effects. She also left a letter addressed directly to you. I asked them to scan the letter and send it. They refused. It's personal property. We're required to deliver it physically. I told them I didn't want anything. The voice was quiet for a second. Then, she insisted you read the letter. She made us swear. That's when I knew. She wasn't dead. Or if she was, she wasn't done with me yet. I decided to go, not because I wanted closure, because I needed to know. If she was really dead, I could finally let go. If not, well, I'd face it. I took unpaid leave, booked a flight, landed in the place I'd spent my childhood avoiding. The house was just like I remembered, minus the flowers. Windows covered, paint peeling, cold. The lawyer met me out front, a young guy, maybe early 30s. He handed me keys, a document to sign, and a manila envelope. I'm sorry for your loss, he said. I said nothing. He left. I stood there a long time before unlocking the door. Inside was worse than I remembered. Dust everywhere, stale air, piles of mail. The living room still had that god-awful green couch she refused to throw away. I dropped my bag, sat down, opened the envelope. Inside was a letter, handwritten. Not in her usual messy scrawl, this was neat, almost deliberate. Ethan, I know you hate me. I deserve that. But everything I did was because I loved you. You were always so sensitive, so breakable. I had to protect you, even when you didn't want it. I know I went too far sometimes, but I couldn't let the world swallow you whole like it did your father. If you're reading this, then I'm gone. Maybe now, finally, you can be free. But don't forget me. I'm your mother. No one else ever will love you like I did. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just sat there staring at the words, reading them over and over, waiting to feel something. And eventually, I did. Relief. But that's not where it ends, because I found something in the attic, something that changed everything. The attic was always off limits when I was a kid. Locked, sometimes even nailed shut. She told me it was full of asbestos, rats, unsafe boards, whatever excuse she had that week. But I wasn't a child anymore. I found the key in her old jewelry box, tucked beneath a stack of fake pearls and religious pins. It was small and brass, worn with age. The door creaked open slowly. Dust exploded in a sunbeam from the small circular window. And then I saw it. Not asbestos. Not rats. Boxes. Dozens of them. Each labeled with a year, some going back to the early 90s. Before I was born. I opened the first box marked A 2001. Inside, a binder. Inside the binder, report cards. Mine. Not just the ones from school, but photocopies. Highlighted. Annotated. Sticky notes with things like, Ethan is too distracted lately. Cut screen time. Needs more math practice. 30-min extra drills. Talks back to Mr. Jennings. Speak with principal. It was like a case file on me. But that wasn't the worst part. Next box. 2006. Photos. Hundreds of them. Me on the bus. Me at the playground. Me at school. Many of them were taken from a distance. Some at night. Some clearly without me knowing. Some even taped under the label, behavior issues. And behind them a smaller folder marked, letters never sent. I opened it, dreading what I'd see. Inside, dozens of letters all written to people in my life over the years. Friends, teachers, girlfriends. None mailed, but all had a common theme. Each one accused the recipient of negatively influencing Ethan. Some were threatening, some bordered on deranged. There was even one addressed to Natalie, the girl from college, dated 2013. You may think you're good enough for my son, but you're not. I see the way you change him. I see what you do behind my back. Stay away, or you'll be sorry. I felt my stomach drop. I had no idea she'd been interfering at that level. I kept digging. Then, I found the phone. It was an old flip phone, powered off. I charged it in her bedroom. When it turned on, I nearly dropped it. Thousands of voice recordings, all titled by date and subject. I played one from 2015, her voice whispering, "Ethan left his job early today. He didn't say why." I followed him. He went to the diner on Pine and 4th. Sat with a man I don't recognize. Laughed. Too much. Something is off. I will investigate further. I skipped forward to 2020. He changed his passwords again. I installed the new keystroke logger this morning. We'll see what he's hiding. She wasn't just controlling. She was paranoid, delusional, obsessive. And for years, she documented every move I made. It wasn't love. It was surveillance. And it shook me to the core. I left the house the next morning without touching a single item. I called the lawyer and told him I wanted nothing. He said I'd have to sign a formal release. I did. When I got back home, I changed every password again. Got a security system. New locks. Even though she was dead, it didn't feel over. A month passed. I was doing okay. Until one day, an envelope appeared at my door. No return address, just my name, in the same neat handwriting from the letter. Inside, a photo. Me, sitting in the park the day before drinking coffee. Taken from a distance. On the back, 5 words, in that same damn handwriting. Still watching. Always will be. I dropped it. Ran outside. No one was there. Cameras caught nothing. And now I can't sleep again, because maybe she really did die. But that kind of obsession doesn't die with the body. It stays. In the walls. In the air. In me. Update 3 weeks later. I'm moving again. Changing my name. I've deleted all online profiles. I don't know who sent the photo. Maybe someone she hired. Maybe a neighbor. Or maybe she's still alive. If she is, I don't want to know. Because even if she's not watching anymore, I still feel her eyes. Everywhere. If you like this video, please subscribe for more.